Did he actually disappear on July the 10th or the 15th?
The
Hold on
10th.
one second.
Okay, 10th.
Okay. Hi there, everybody. Alright. Oh, alright, I have to mute my so that would be crazy. Alright. So how are you guys doing? This is a live for viewers. Or can you guys hear
I can hear you now.
you can hear me now?
Yep.
Okay. Alright. I got it. There we go. There we go. Oh, that is so much better. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. Um, all right, so we are live here with a couple of Deorr's original followers, including myself. We are holding this live and this reunion in the hopes of discussing what we've all done in the past to help this case, what we could have seen better in the case. We would also want to discuss at the end how we can come together and reunite and do more things for Deorr going from here on out. This is a case about a 2-year-old little boy who went missing on a camping trip with his parents, his grandfather, and Isaac Ringwon, who is a friend of the grandfather's. During that camping trip, at some point, Deorr was reported missing. There's a lot of speculation on what happened and what did not happen. However, this is not what that is about. We are going to hold this reunion and we are going to make it about the followers and what we have all done in this case to get where we are today. Even though he is not found, I have high hopes that within the next couple of years he will be and that justice will be served. Time is not on our side. Um, so I'm going to go ahead and introduce myself. My name is Callie. I have Susie. I have Leslie, Wilma is somewhere in the background. She is not connected to her device, and we will have Amanda Moore on here in a little bit as soon as she gets into the studio. Um, I'll go ahead and start with you, Susie. We'll go ahead and discuss, how you got involved in the case and, what you did to help in the case, if you did help any, what you saw in this case that could have been handled differently, anything that you think that is important that brought you into this case. I would love to hear what you've gone through.
I seen the little boy, the blonde-haired, blue-eyed boy, uh, came across my Facebook feed, and I fell in love.
I
Uh,
bet. Yeah,
that was back in July, and I followed it as close as I could. I mean, religiously. Um, I'd go to sleep at night trying to figure out how anything could have happened to him. He was there supposedly in a safe environment, and just poof, he's gone.
right, right.
And I would just roll it over in my head. I've lost a daughter. I know where she's at. She's with Jesus. She's in heaven. But to lose a child and not know where it's at is just mind-numbing to me. And to watch how her his parents reacted. Number one, in that first interview with Nate Eaton, uh, I was in disbelief.
Right.
You know, and it's I knew something was hinky, and uh, I shared his picture. I couldn't tell you how many times. Facebook. Anytime any was, I mean, I followed everything, got in so many Facebook groups, and there was so much hatred and anger and just back and forth. It was heartbreaking because
It
in the
was.
middle of this was still this lost little boy. It's like he
Yeah,
got lost again. It broke
right.
my heart, and it still breaks my heart.
I
Um,
totally agree with that. Yeah,
uh,
it's been I think that's exactly what I saw. I saw him come on my screen, and it's just like,
I
he's
mean, who couldn't love a baby like that? I
yeah,
just, I would have given anything. That's when I got started following Nate Eaton. I would have given anything if he would have been a seasoned reporter back then, like he is now, and doing that interview with Jessica and
yeah.
Deorr.
Hmm.
Because Deorr just, I mean, he took over that interview. I
He
mean,
did.
took it totally over.
Yeah.
And if Nate would have asked the questions that he knows to ask now,
Hmm.
um, I think something I don't know what, but there's so many little things that I've seen through all of this that just didn't add up. That they were both totally just innocent little chickens.
Right.
I'm sorry to say it, but you know, something is not right there,
Right.
and that's my opinion.
I agree. I think a lot of us saw that on that interview a lot. Vernal did take over that whole conversation, and not once did he share um, a picture of Dior or really describe him much, except for the fact that he was 2 year old in wobbly boots. Because he was really definitely more important. The helicopters were more important to him. The
Oh,
gadgets.
he was more fascinated over that helicopter.
Yeah, he was. He was, and it makes you wonder. Like, is he trying to get on law enforcement side or whatever? Um,
That's what I got.
yeah, it makes you definitely want to look at the case closer, as if something's missing, for sure.
Right. Well,
Hmm.
and there was so many different things during the interviews and then the reenactments uh, that they did, and who was the guy, the Marshburn guy that came in, and I mean, it was very evident Jessica was just trying to be a, I don't know what, but anyway, it was kind of like he was leaning more towards her or something. I don't know, but that just it didn't answer any questions. It just brought more questions.
It brought a lot of drama.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, and talk about drama. The Facebook drama got totally ridiculous. I mean, ridiculous.
And
Uh,
unfortunately, all of us followers were really a part of that. You know, it was
right,
all of
and
us
yeah.
followers doing it. And I
I
think that
mean,
now we've all learned to agree to disagree, and we're at definitely a much better level than we were, 9 years ago almost.
right, right. But like I said, it's something that haunts me. And I was born in 1952. You figure out for yourself how old I am. But I just hope and pray in my lifetime that I know what happened to that baby. Uh, it breaks my heart. It really does.
I agree. Um, so did what kind of things did you notice when you shared stuff or got involved yourself with other little things, comments and stuff? Obviously there was a little bit of drama. We can't not say that there wasn't drama. Um, what did you see that you thought needed to be fixed or changed to better the case?
I would have hoped and prayed. You know, I with the law. I wish law enforcement would have stepped up more. And I had so much faith in. Oh God, I forgot the sheriff's name.
Bowerman,
Yes, I had so much faith in him, and I was hoping that him and the first lawyer, those two. I kept thinking those two are gonna deep dive and get into this and dig out some dirt and find answers.
right?
And it was like they both were trying, but they just couldn't quite get there. And after that, the new sheriff now, I've not got a lot of faith in him,
He's
but
nice, but a
you
lot,
know,
yeah,
I think a lot of it, though, has to do with I know what we want to happen,
hmm
but they're bound by the law and how and when they can do things. And
right,
that's what's so hard
well,
is
and the
you
and the
want them
weather.
to go. Well, yeah, obviously the weather, plays a huge part up there.
right,
But it's it's hard because you want them to beat every bush and go after these people and talk to this and go there,
interrogate
and
them,
they can't
yeah,
always do that if they don't have reasonable cause to go and do these things.
right,
They can't, and it's frustrating for law enforcement too. I think a lot of times because they know what they want to do, but
right,
they can't do it.
Their hands are tied.
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. And I mean, that makes sense too because they also have to worry about court someday, and they want to make sure everything is able to be presented and not dismissed. And so,
exactly.
you law enforcement can't add their personal stuff to this, unfortunately. Um, I could be a private investigator if I wanted to. It's $600 away from me. I don't want to. Why? I don't like the rules. I don't want to follow them. I like to do things my own way. I get things done faster and I think more efficient. And like you said, law enforcement has to follow those rules, um, whereas the public does not. And it's easy for us
Well,
to jump on that.
like I said, that was just my answer to. You said what, and I said I
Yeah,
wish the law enforcement
yeah,
could. Now, what I
Yeah,
said would have, but I wish they could have done more in the
right.
exactly.
beginning. That's the way I meant it. I mean, trust me, I'm
Yeah,
not down in him because their hands were tied, but uh, just there has to be. Um, I mean, there's no easy answer. Uh,
Exactly.
you know,
no, and you're right. There's a lot of things that could be done, could have been done. I'm wondering if there's still things that we could still do, like things that law enforcement hasn't thought about. So
uh,
with that,
please.
uh, did you, let's see, um, so that was did you have any drama at all or any positive feedback from this case? Like, did anybody, give you any troubles at all or not that specific names, but like, did you have trouble sticking up for Dior at all?
Oh, like I said, the only drama I came across was in Facebook groups because there was some ridiculous stuff that went on. I
Yeah.
mean, far from the crazy, the and that was really and truly about the time that Facebook and Facebook groups in 2015 really got big, and then you got started getting all of these trolls and the bots and all of this, and I mean it just kept feeding on, and nowadays it's common, and you just know to roll and scroll, but back in those days, I mean it would get started on, and it was almost like they were go into fist fights and stuff,
Yeah, it
uh,
was.
you know. And you were just like, okay, I'm backing out of here. I'm not even getting on Facebook for 2 days, to get away from it. Because I mean, I could probably call out some names, and y'all would go, "Yep, yep,
Oh, no,
I'm
I know
talking
all the
about
names,
them."
trust me. I've been in that
You know the, but the negativity, and then you had two other groups that were over here. They were all on mom and daddy's side, totally. And if you
Yeah,
said anything, and I'm one of those that I get in Facebook groups, but I just sit back and I'm up in the balcony just sitting there watching. That's the way I roll when it comes to social media.
right,
But when it comes to Deorr, uh, especially, I mean, once it rocked on about 2 years, I was just like, Lord, please give us some answers somewhere.
right,
And then after that, I think that's when they brought in Marshburn. Uh, Klein did some stuff. And with every new person looking at the case, you had some hope, and maybe they're going to find some answers. And
right.
and then once that petered out, it was like, well, okay, we're back to square one. And I felt just like you did, Callie. It's just like, which way do we go now? And
Right,
I'm sure that's how law enforcement feels about it right now too. Is
right.
like, we've got this baby missing. Um, you know, I don't know. I don't know, but I promise you, I'm gonna stay dogged with it, and help in any way I can from
Well, we love you
my
having,
location.
yeah. When you have a whole bunch of people who, and that's the thing is that, there's family supporters and there's non-family supporters. I am good with both. I don't care which one you support. I have my own opinion in which direction I'm going, and that's very obvious to a lot of people. But, if you're a family supporter, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think that because every family, in a way, no matter if they're guilty or not, as long as it's not proven that they're guilty yet, they, in a way, people still deserve, just in case. Let's just in case. I mean, you know how I felt
Right.
about the case, but let's just say they're
Well,
innocent, and they really are. I think that family needs support somewhere, right? I think that that's where we all kind of clashed in the past, in the Facebook, is that we did have family supporters and we had regular supporters, and with the mix that didn't really go well. But we all cared about Dior, and that's why we were all there regardless. And so it was a matter of, we all had our own specific beliefs, and things we didn't like about the other person, what they said. We didn't agree to disagree at that time. Like, yeah,
I think a
yeah,
lot
yeah.
for me with that is family supporter, not family supporter. To me, there's been a lot of things that have been put out there or that have been kind of leading people to believe certain things that aren't necessarily correct. And
right,
my thing is, if depending on what happened, if justice is going to be served, that can really affect the case down the road with things that people are hearing that may or may not be true.
hmm,
Um, and so I had a lot of heat from people saying that, oh, I was a family supporter and this and that and the other. And I've been very, very vocal as far as, yeah, I mean, I can't say for sure one way or the other, legally, obviously,
Right.
but I I heavily lean towards the parents know what happened.
Hmm. Many
I
of us do.
I pretty much always have. Um, but I am going to point out when things are said that aren't necessarily what's actually happening.
Right. And misinformation is not good in any case whatsoever.
Exactly. That's
Not
what
at
I'm trying to
all.
say.
Like,
Thank
it's so important. I mean, you
I,
cannot solve a case if, I mean, because you have to think about there's investigators that are doing their job, right? And they're investigating and they're doing their thing. But as everything gets posted online, from those investigators, from those law enforcement, or things that we have learned on the outside that wasn't from Facebook, like, personal conversations with detectives or law enforcement or whatever, we get some of that stuff from them. So it's very important that we don't let misinformation out, because if the parents aren't guilty, we don't need things out there showing that they are if it's not true. If they are guilty, then the things that are out there need to be fact. You know what I mean? So, and this goes for any case. I mean, I really hope that Deorr's case is an example for many other cases in the future of what not to do. Like,
Well, and that's the thing. It's like it, even if, if they are guilty, there's still things out there that are not necessarily supported by law enforcement and what has been put out there,
right.
that any kind of misinformation can cause problems in a case down the road,
Yeah.
and you don't want to mess with, if someone is going to be held accountable for something,
Hmm.
you don't want to mess with that.
No, you want it to be fair, 100%. Let the facts take you where it goes, and let the facts be real facts. Speculation is always something people can do, but facts aren't something you can just pull out wherever. You have to actually have them, and
Exactly.
so with the real facts, that's going to determine who's guilty, who's not guilty, or in between the lines of where he may be. Um,
Exactly.
yeah, I think it's very important. Okay, so Suvi, let's see, what's there else?
I think my stance is I don't see how the parents can not know something.
Oh, right, they did fail a lot of
That's like I said, that's my own personal opinion. I do not see how the parents cannot know anything.
yeah,
I mean, it's not like that was back in the day when the eagle maybe come in and swooped him up, or, a wild animal. There'd be proof of that somewhere. It has to be two-legged, a two-legged animal that had something to do with this.
yeah.
And that's just my thinking. I'm not pointing fingers any direction, no way, shape, or form. That's just my stance on it. Is I do not know how Jessica or Vernal, neither one of them,
Right.
don't know anything about what happened to that baby.
Well, like the one factual thing that is out there is Caroline Klein talking to Vernal about what Jessica had shared with her, and what Jessica had shared with her, and what Vernal agreed Jessica shared with her, was that Jessica said that Vernal never went down to the creek with her, and that he was actually with the baby for 20 minutes, the last 20 minutes. Um, you know, and so when you have that, when you have the mother pointing fingers early on, like saying no, he didn't go down to the creek. In my opinion, I wish she would finish her real story, because
Right.
that says a lot
I
right there. It says a lot. It really does.
I
When
I
you're
have I was going to say I have so many questions about that time frame, and I'm going to read you something I wrote down. That was back in probably 2015, 16. It
right,
was there was one of the stories they narrated. I think, or that might have been when they talked to Klein, but I don't think so. I think it was earlier than that. Just okay. Vernal was supposedly went down the road to get good service, right?
To the cattle guard, yeah.
Yeah, he went down the road to get good phone service. But Jessica, before she went in the water to look for baby Deorr, She said she emptied out her pockets in Deorr
Into the
Vernal's
truck.
in the back trunk seat. She
The
emptied
truck.
out her pockets.
Into the truck.
How could she do that if his truck was off down the road?
1.5 miles too. Yeah. And did you know
Yeah,
that he only
I,
went down there 3 times, not just once, not twice, 3 times, if not more.
yeah, but how did she empty her pockets out in the back seat of his truck?
Yeah, that is a really, those are good questions, Those are things that, the one thing that I did learn over the time, the one misinformation that was put out there was the Wednesday phone ping.
Yeah,
There was
yeah,
no Wednesday phone ping. I think in a way that might have been put out there to test the parents. There's nothing wrong with that. Investigators do that all the time.
right. They
However,
do that.
by putting it out there and you have people like us or myself and I'm like I take every single thing and I'm putting it to in a timeline, I'm putting it to work, I want to make a story out of it, like not online story but like a storyline of what happened. And yeah, you have a lot of those kind of things and it really messes up the case. Like it's it just tells you there's more things out there to be found. And yeah, I'm not sure why those are little leakages, and little leakages keep people to
Right.
this case. So even if we're not here to talk about the case, we are still talking about how we got involved and what's keeping us involved, and what keeps us involved are these little things. It is very possible that that Wednesday phone ping was meant to be Thursday midnight. um, that's my take on it. That it might not have been actually Wednesday, but it might have been around midnight. And the way it got worded back to me, that's kind of how I took it. But I can't say that as a fact. So that's just
But
one of those
so do
things
you?
that are out there that are not true. That's not factual. You know. So
So
I
we
did.
don't know. We don't know exactly. Did they get there Wednesday night late or was it Thursday night late?
I want to say it was probably Thursday. I think someone was seen on the cameras on Thursday in town. I want to say maybe Jessica was seen or somebody was seen, but not Dior. That's what I got when I asked. And I mean, when I ask questions, I I don't know if I could tell you all the people I ask questions to, but law enforcement, in Bonneville and in Lemhi County and Klein as well. And I didn't have a chance to ever talk to Marshburn. He wasn't on my favorite list. And yeah, but as long as I don't know. I really think that they showed up. You have 9:30 is what they say, right? When you get to town at 9:30, but then you have Nate Eaton who mentions midnight, and then you have Jessica in a statement saying Dior fell down in the campground, and that's when Isaac was not happy about a 2-year-old being there, and that
Yeah.
was
Why did you bring that kid? Why would anybody bring a kid on a camping trip?
yeah. I mean, and then you also have Jessica in that certain statement saying, the baby fell down between late Thursday, early Friday morning. Well, you went, you got there at 9:30. Y'all set up camp, sat around the fire for a minute, um, and the older gentlemen's went to bed, and you have the three of them sitting by the fire staring at the stars. Until when? And when did Dior fall?
Right. And
So
how much were they drinking while they
yeah,
were doing that?
and I mean, who's to say who doesn't drink when they're going camping and
Hey, it's
and even if you
right.
have a kid, I mean, I would have a beer or something. Like I'm not gonna get totally wasted where I couldn't see my kid. Um, all right, Amanda at the stage. Amanda, you are on. Let's see, but you don't have to talk yet. It's okay. Let's
Am I
see.
supposed to
So
be quiet right now?
no, no, you're fine. I was gonna do individually, but no, you're totally fine. I think it's keeping things at a flow.
I'm sorry, Susie.
No, you're totally okay. I have no specific way of doing this. This is my first live with everybody on my own channel, so I hope everybody can give me a little bit of a break. But
Need to
okay,
talk.
so Susie, what would you advise today in the case, and how can we help each other help Dior? What would be your advice for that?
I really don't know. I really don't know. Um, just keep spreading the word around because there's that's a camping destination for some people, in that area. Just make sure, especially during hunting season, that, there's flyers up, there's word out that we're still looking for this baby.
Right.
And, somebody might accidentally come across something.
Yeah, I agree.
That's about as far as I know um, to try to help. I'm sure there's other ways, but they're just not coming to me, and I wish they
Right.
were.
It's not like you can get your feet on the ground. Not everybody can do that either. So,
No,
and
no,
if you were to have feet on the ground, I mean, where would you start searching? There's just so
right.
and I don't even know where to start. I certainly wouldn't go to the campground. Um,
No, I think uh, in all honesty, I think it's something to do with between the cattle guard and town, and that's just my thoughts.
I can agree with that. It's very possible. Very, very possible. Okay, Leslie, we're on to you.
Okay.
I'll shut up now.
No, you're okay.
I am so, oh,
Feel free to
please
add
don't.
things in there because you might think of something, you know. So Leslie, how did you get involved and what brought you to this case?
I actually, I knew of it when it um all first happened, but there that was kind of all consuming. Um, and so it was in the back of my mind because of that and because it was another child. Um, but in all honesty, it was because of Klein being brought onto that case that I got more involved in Deorr's case.
So you followed one case that was Klein's already, and then you just kind of went on to the next one that he was also on.
No, it was actually the opposite.
Oh, okay.
They were trying to talking about bringing him into the case here locally, and he was already on Deorr's case.
Okay. 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 That makes sense. That makes sense. Okay, so what kind of things did you do to help in Dior's case or notice things that needed to be fixed or changed and tried to help?
I mean, and
It's okay if you have to mention names. It's it is what it is.
as far as helping, I mean, just having awareness out there and, you know, keeping the case. I mean, I think we all help when it comes to that.
Yeah,
Um, I think that I have a hard time when things are said that, you know, law enforcement um, doesn't cooperate or doesn't or flat out says no, that's not actually the case.
right.
Um, things that kind of get a little bit misrepresented, and there again, like I said before, to me it's so important not to have misinformation clouding things.
100%. Yeah,
And people run with stuff. They hear it and they do because people care so much. They hear something and they run with it. And, you know, that could have huge consequences down the road, you
right.
know, as far as, you know, the jury pool or, um, I mean, just lots of things that, you know,
It is so important to have it all right, you know?
exactly.
Mhm. It's not a case. I mean, think about it. If we were in court, we would have to present this stuff. It's
Exactly.
so, it's the same thing on the outside. It's very important.
I think, obviously, I don't think the drama does anything good for these cases.
No,
I know I see people say, "Oh, well, you know, I think any publicity or anything out there is awareness."
right.
Yeah, but there's things that can hurt what you're trying to do. So, I mean, not everything is good. It's I mean, it's not obviously you want his name and picture out there still.
Right.
But if it's attached to things that are incorrect, that isn't helpful.
Right. I agree with that. I agree 100%. Amanda's trying to come back in. She got kicked out somehow.
I know she's trying.
I totally agree with you on that, though. Okay, so did any drama or positive things come from your help? And how you
really have
feel?
to answer that question.
You don't want to answer that question? That's totally okay.
Well, no, I mean, there's been a lot of drama because there again, you have some people that jump on you if you point out, oh, dog, sorry.
No worries, you're fine.
If you do point out, okay, well, that's not exactly what was said, or, things are being led down a road that isn't actually factual or hasn't been released or whatever.
Right.
It's, you automatically get, labeled, oh, well, you're a parent supporter. Well, there again, I've specifically said several times that my gut tells me that most likely the parents know what happened.
Right.
I don't know that to be true, 100%, but none
Right.
of us do. That's the thing. I mean,
Right.
we all can speculate and, we all have our opinions on things, but I think that's where there has been a lot of drama because people go in all of these cases, honestly, people are so passionate about it. And well, on one hand, that can be admirable. It can also be hurtful because just because you don't necessarily subscribe to any one thing doesn't mean that you're disagreeing, I guess.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be that way. It just doesn't have to be that way.
Right. And then when we all get frustrated at any point during these issues, online, it makes it harder for everybody to mingle with each other as well. So
And
that
if you have strong feelings about something else that's going on in the case that isn't necessarily regarding Deorr himself,
right,
then people automatically form opinions and throw whatever.
I know that I've had drama with, I don't know, I'm not sure if I had drama with you guys, but I mean, I've had drama with Amanda for a minute, but we're good, I mean, I think it's a matter of taking it off the pages and figuring out, like, talk like adults, you know what I mean? Like, and putting the stuff on Deorr's pages is really a waste of his time, not ours. It's a waste of his time. It's a waste of people's reading. People want to know what's going on. They don't want to see all this drama. So, I'm really happy with over the time that we have. There isn't any drama. Everybody's leaving each other alone, and I think that is, if you can't be nice, then don't say anything at all.
Sorry.
I don't know what is going on with Amanda. She's like,
she's having a heck of a time.
she is. She's in and out. I don't know what she's doing. Okay, so let's see. What could have been done differently? We've already kind of discussed that. What would you advise in this case today, and how we can help each other help him from here on out?
Honestly, I mean, like I said, awareness is so important.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that should obviously never stop. I don't know. I don't know how we can help at this point because, I mean, it's until there's something more for law enforcement to really go on or something is found, just really isn't. It's hard, but there just really isn't anything you can do.
Yeah.
I mean, I know firsthand if unless there's something that comes up, there's just not much you can do. And
I know
that's
it's frustrating. It's frustrating.
I mean, it's awful,
Hmm.
and that's one thing, for families and friends of the missing, that it's just, you get to the point to where you can't do anything,
Right. Right.
and it's a helpless feeling.
It is. I totally hear you. Every morning I wake up, go to bed. It's like, I took on this role of like being an advocate, and we're all advocates. I just took on this huge, like, I don't know. It's like, I feel like I lost my child and I've got to go find her. You know what I mean? That's it's him, but um,
You're
it's
doing a great job, Callie. A great job. A great
thank you
job.
so much. I appreciate it. I really just want them found. I'm running out of ideas. I'm running out of not patience. I have plenty of patience, and I'll do this till the very end. But I'm running out of ideas to keep it afloat. The more cases that keep popping up, I get really worried and kind of bummed because it's so hard after 9 years to keep something that's to keep it afloat. It's really hard, and so I'm
Well, and
always
people
thinking,
lose interest, and I mean, no one wants to think of it that way, but it's the truth. You know it's people move on and they lose interest, and it's it's hard when you can't let go of it. And like I say, with the case that's close here to me, I'll never stop posting her picture. I'll never stop asking questions. I will never stop wanting, obviously, her to be found.
right,
um but there's only so much you can do.
yeah, that's frustrating.
I think what keeps us all interested is, I mean, I'm a follower of true crime, uh, just crazy about it, but I get renewed hope when they find a child that's been missing. They finally identify them, that's been missing for 10, 15, 20, 30 years.
Yes,
Exactly.
And
yeah,
that's what we're hoping for, that somewhere, or that's what I'm hoping for, and I'm pretty sure y'all are too, that somewhere down the line there'll be a DNA something somewhere
yeah,
that's going to be able to say that's what happened to that baby,
Yeah.
or
right,
that's what happened to that young man if they find him still alive. We all want answers, and we don't know how to get them. Uh, I'm depending on God for this one. I'm sorry. Uh, you know, you can't put faith in uh, investigators so much or whatever, or it's something's going to happen. Something's going to break somewhere, and I
yeah,
think we're all on the same page that if uh, he is found and answers come out, if mom or dad are involved, we're not going to be surprised. I don't point fingers at mom and dad, but if they show up to be involved in it somehow, I'm not going to be surprised. And
Exactly.
that's my
right,
stand on it.
I agree. I mean, and if it turns out that my thing is, like, on the different pages and stuff,
hmm,
I feel like I would so much rather not have to apologize later than say something
Right,
now that I'm gonna have to
right,
for.
absolutely,
um
right.
I there again, like I say, I have my opinions on who may possibly know what, but that's not
right,
100%, obviously, and I would rather not go full tilt and say things against people that I don't know for sure and have to apologize for it later.
And I think little Deorr's case was one of those that we saw them that went. They were totally ramped, totally right, or totally left. I mean,
Yeah,
I mean,
there was no middle ground.
I,
Yeah,
no, no. And I mean, they were either the parents, by God, them parents did something to that baby, or the ones that said, no, it was Isaac or an eagle or something. The parents weren't involved. There was no middle ground.
yeah.
Right.
And see, that's the
Yeah.
thing. I mean, it's very possible that he could be on the mountain and just has not been located yet because
Right.
it happens
Right,
every day.
I mean,
right,
Henry goes up there every year. He has a search with the National Center of Missing Exploited Children. He takes them up there every year. They help him. I'm sure he's marking off more grid maps on getting more coverage. But I personally don't think he's up there. That's my personal thing. He is, I think, anywhere from the cattle guard out, and I mean all the way from the cattle guard to the town of Idaho Falls. I mean, if you think about it, if you had an accident with your child, wouldn't you want him to be closer to home? I mean, that's my opinion. I just feel like it could be closer to home, but that would entail moving, and I think he was moved already because if this is true, if it is true that there is a missing cooler, and if he was placed in it and put down at the cattle guard where it's some people say for a holding spot, it's possible all that law enforcement bypassed it and went straight to the campground and branched out from that point
right,
on.
right, right.
Missed this cooler or wherever he was placed, and he had to have been moved later at a certain date because you would not want him to be found. Um, not the
That
if he was
I
hidden.
think I think we kind of have the same theory on this.
I think a lot of us do, but it's okay if we all think different. I mean, I think the most important thing is to know that Dior is cared about and that we all care about Dior, and that right there is the main thing.
I just want him home.
Yeah,
I just
exactly.
want him home.
Just one, yeah, I agree. I, I think we all feel like we're missing a child, and this
Oh,
child is not
definitely.
fair. It's not fair. He needs to be found. He needs to be brought back in, and um, whether he's wandered off and he's just misplaced himself, or whether he was placed by somebody else. Regardless, the case is going on a long time. I never really thought it would be almost 9 years, and um, there's only so much you could do every year to get excited about it. Oh, it's anniversary time. Oh, it's his birthday time. Let's gather everybody together. It's really hard to do that.
Yeah,
It's not easy.
And I think we're all kind of scattered across the country. But I'm in Arkansas, and I mean I was even after that I'd be around somewhere if I'd see a little blonde haired blue eyed baby, about his age, I'd be taking a second look at him because you just never know.
And unfortunately, now he would be 11. And
How long has it been since they've done an age progression on
it
him?
has
It's
been a
been
while. I did ask Klein about that, and then I think he said he was going to pass that on. But I think I'm going to get a hold of the National Center of Missing and Exploited Children and see if they could do another one. And I'm not sure if they would listen to me or if I have to.
I believe the parents have to do it, and it's really hard to get them to do them.
Right.
I know it took a bit for them to do one on Ember, and
Really?
it's
Wow.
at this point, she's older than what her age progression is, and
Yeah.
it would be great to do another one, but they're for some reason they it's hard to get them to do one.
isn't it
And it's supposed to be
like
done every 5 years,
ever
I think.
Yeah,
I was gonna
exactly.
say every 5 years.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, so Deorr's definitely do because his was supposed to be about at an age for a 4-year-old, I believe, 4 to 5-year-old, maybe 6. But yeah, it's time. It's a time for another one. Even if some people don't feel like he's even out there to aged.
There's a chance. There's a chance.
Exactly. Because we don't know, and that's the
I'm
thing.
not 100% like
I mean, I don't
I can
think
assume
so,
or I
but
can guess.
it's like I say with the same thing with Ember. I I really
Now,
I don't think he's with us
was
anymore.
that the little baby?
Yes.
Okay.
And yeah, I don't believe that she is alive. But there's always that chance. And God
If there's a
forbid.
chance.
Exactly. And
Yeah,
it's so important to keep that out there on the off
because what
chance.
if that you're gonna miss that child if you have a one narrows perspective, thinking level. Like I
Cover all possibilities.
Yeah, I mean, it's still very possible that
Right.
you're legally adopted out. It is. It's possible.
I
Um,
keep going back. I keep going back to what was the first investigator? What was his name? Um,
Bill,
wh-
right?
right. There was something in what he said about. I think I could be wrong, but y'all will correct me on this. But didn't he say something about maybe there's a possibility she may be, kind of, because she wanted to go with Vernal wherever he was going.
Right on the
And
road.
right. And so she maybe had turned him over to somebody else. Wasn't he the one that brought it up in an
Problem
interview with him?
the problem with that, I feel, is that why would Jessica tell law enforcement that Vernal never went to the creek? Why would Isaac say that he saw him back at the campground? Let's just say he disappeared from the campground. Someone came and got him at that point. I want to know why Jessica feels Vernal's involved and why no one saw anybody come to the campground. I mean, no one's gonna follow the baby from another place. That would be really weird.
It would have
I
to be. That's what I keep saying to myself. It would have to have been some kind of a setup deal.
Yeah, and then Vernal would have to be a part of that
Yeah.
Right.
because
Right.
there's no way that he's done all of the stuff that he has done and not know. And so I think that it would be a two of them party, and I would prefer that to have
Right.
happened if they both got rid of
I
him.
don't. I don't think it's one or the other of them.
No,
You
I think
know.
they both know. One
Yep.
might have
Yep.
caused it on accident. If there was an accident, I think one caused it, but the other one definitely knows. You just don't not know. And especially with Jessica, if she didn't know, the way she words things like, he was down at he wasn't down at the creek. Well, it's just kind of like you're wording it as an accident, you know,
I just
wording it as an accident.
my biggest doubt, the thing that gives me the most pause as far as if the parents are involved or no, is the more people, the less likely you're going to be able to keep it a secret.
Yeah,
And the fact that there was 4 different people there and one of them wasn't actually related,
right.
that's the one thing that I'm like, I don't know how, you know, I can't see them covering for Isaac and I can't see Isaac covering for them.
No,
And that's the one thing that gives me that little bit of doubt that the parent that it was anybody on the camping trip.
right.
But that one little piece isn't enough to override the rest of it.
I mean, you have
You know what I mean?
how I see it is they arrive back at town, and at some point it's going to be time to go down to the creek. Grandpa, from what I've heard, and I don't have proof of it, so therefore I can't use it. Um, basically said that Grandpa might have been sleeping in the camper. And so while Grandpa's doing his thing wherever he's at, and Isaac's down fishing, shows Jessica down to the fishing thing. Vernal and Deorr were following Isaac and Jessica, according to Isaac. But then when you look back, Deorr and Vernal were no longer following him. And so I feel that an accident happened while everybody was busy. You know what I mean? Like Grandpa's sleeping, Isaac's down at the creek fishing, Vernal's got Deorr. Vernal accidentally backs into him. He's got blood on his truck. It's been picked up by
He
cab
brings
driver.
it. He brings up that truck so much,
Well, let me
so
tell you
much.
about that truck. That truck, he got it. I don't know if he bought it, but he got it from his friend AJ a week before the camping trip. He gave it back to his friend AJ a week after the camping trip, and AJ went to Deorr and scrapped it for metal. Right after FBI got it, this truck was destroyed within 15 days of Deorr missing.
That
Oh, wait, wait.
that was another thing.
If
And
the truck was destroyed in that amount of time, then
as soon as FBI saw it, as soon as FBI had it in their hands and they lit it up with luminol, as soon as they handed that truck back, don't ask me why they handed the truck back. That is
okay.
a confusing part, right? Why would they hand the truck back if they didn't if they found something? Well, it's possible that they couldn't get DNA off of it to match it to something. All they really had was, blood pathogens, So
But that's the thing, though. It was not, according to law enforcement, it was not proven to be
right.
blood pathogens, and that's one of those things that's an inconsistency that I have a hard time with, because it was, you know, people were led to believe that, oh, it was blood. Well,
Yeah.
but it wasn't proven to be blood. And so that's one of those things that,
He could have hit a deer. I
yeah, it
live in the country.
Oh, think about
It
this. Did
happens
the
all
cab
the
run
time.
over an animal, or did the animal like go underneath the car? I mean, because the
Right,
what they
right.
found was only in the wheel well, the bumper, and in that area where Vernal places Deorr. That's the only area that lit up with luminol. When you look up
Wait,
how
but
luminol
when did they
works,
do the luminol test? Because I don't remember ever hearing of an actual luminol test
yeah,
on.
I don't either.
I found that out through Dennis Kunz. He made a post on it and said that it was lit up with luminol, that they did find blood, and that there's animals.
Okay,
Um,
but there again, law
I mean,
enforcement.
he could
law
run over a
enforcement did not
skunk.
say. Yeah. And so, but why would Dennis say that? So it's not proof, it's not a fact, I guess. So that's a very good point. And so even myself can say things like that, and not really put, a
And
lot of thought.
I I I don't mean to put you on the spot, Kelly. That is
No,
really
you're fine. I'm totally okay with that.
all. I just, there again, it's something that I have I have a hard time with some of the things that have been put out there, because of the fact that, law enforcement has said, that that is not the case. And um, you know,
Did they say it
I
wasn't the case, or did they just not like
no, they
say?
said that it was not the case, that there was not
Okay,
blood found on the bumper.
okay. Well, that would be really good, interesting stuff. I did request an FBI thing, but because it's an open case, they're not going to share anything with me. I think that would be very important to know. I think that regardless, we could take the truck out of the situation and still place Vernal with your last, according to Jessica, the mother
Yeah,
who, for that part, there may not have been an accident with the truck. It could have been, a rock. It could have been something else. It could have been anything.
yeah.
Um, so that is
I
very
have
good.
a
That's a very good point. I think that that's a good point to know.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, I think it was when they did, you know, I think anything that was put out about that baby I watched, but I think it was when they did a recreation and they were saying in that Grandpa went in the camper and said he took a nap.
Hmm.
But, when Klein was interviewing him, he said he was just over there and Bernal said he was dumping sand out of his boots and
Yeah.
this and that, whatever. Did Grandpa do? We don't know for a fact whether or not Grandpa actually went in the camper and took a nap.
We
We
don't
don't
know
know that.
100%.
Yeah.
There's no facts, but not unless the persons that were there. I believe that he was sleeping, but even if he wasn't, the way Jessica makes it's just the way Jessica puts things. Jessica, I
Right.
don't I don't take her talk and decline. I only take the things that we can hear, like literally hear it, And so I think that just catches me off guard why she feels that way, and why does also Isaac agree that Vernal was not, with them at the creek. So, and then you have, when you listen to the first interview, you go back to the first interview. I swear, every time I look at it, it's something new.
I do too. I do too.
As soon as he says, I was down at the creek and there was little minnows, she looks at him like,
Right.
like
The looks between the two of them and the Nate Eaton interview are priceless.
I do look, like you said, I wish Nate was as good as he is today then. He was unfortunately a rookie, and that's where he started. But I have to give Nate credit for, he may not cover the case very often, but the one thing that he was able to do that I couldn't do was get him on CrimeCon. Now, I went to a CrimeCon in Seattle, and it was the best thing I've ever joined. It was like $400, and I had to split a room with two other Deorr followers that we went down there together. And we went there to do our best to solve two murder cases. And I talked to them about it. I was like, can you get Deorr on? And they're like, well, we would love to. However, we don't feel law enforcement or the parents would be willing to participate. And that spoke a lot of volume, as far as like, they just didn't feel that anything was going to be able to be useful on that. And so Nate somehow was able to get on stage and do it all himself. So,
Nate Eaton did?
he did. He got on the CrimeCon stage and he went on. And I have to say that he doesn't he doesn't sugarcoat things. He doesn't sugarcoat the
No,
parents.
no.
So I always kind of felt like he was a parent supporter in a way, and I don't like to think that, because it's not fair. I don't know if he is or not. Um, but he doesn't like to share anything that is an update from things that I do, which is fine. Not everybody's gonna do that. I'm not this like huge person in the case where I can get my way and have things done. I just do whatever I can. But
What
yeah,
are you gonna do Crime Con in Nashville?
no, I actually didn't hold the crime con. I just attended it, and I actually was able to help out in that in one of those cases. There was two cases, and they're from Washington State. I was able to help with something that was wrapped around one of the victims' necks, and they didn't know what it was. And I was able to do that, and I created a timeline for them. And so, I had a really good time, and so I really thought that Deorr could benefit from that, and he did. So I give Nate credit for that. One thing I do want to throw out there, and I can't say exactly what, but Grandpa did confess to people, couple people, of certain things that went down, and basically it labels an accident happened. I have a hard time getting those words of what that person heard from Grandpa and how they related it back. It was very disturbing. Um,
Where is that? Where is that coming from?
it's coming from a person that is related, literally related by sibling, to a person that Grandpa confessed to. And I've, with certain things, I'm able to. People come to me. I'm like, people come to me, and they want to share some stuff. I don't always put those things out there. But one of the comments, I saw a comment where this person said Grandpa confessed, and I was like, reach me. We need to talk. And that person was a sibling of the person who was confessed to. And I also have another person who also not does not know these other two people, and said the same thing, that Grandpa confessed. So Grandpa, when he drank a lot, it was he was sad. He was really sad. He was sad about the whole situation. But what he described was an accident, and an accident that I believe he either saw or came out of his camper and witnessed afterwards. Um, is this fact? No, it's not a fact. Does law enforcement have this information? Yes, there was a written statement uh, from this person that was confessed to and another person that she worked with. These two people that worked together got this confession, and it was sent to law enforcement. So,
How long was this? How long was this before his death?
what's that?
How long was this confession before his death?
Good question. I want to
Grandpa's death.
I want to say within the first 6 months.
Oh, so
Of
it's
him
early
missing
on.
or before his death?
Yeah, definitely before his death, obviously.
Well, I
But
mean,
no,
if within the
no, I'm saying, all right, you're not going to tell us, but give us a timeline here when it happened, like 6 months after Deorr went missing.
yeah, there
Yeah,
we
I
go.
would say I want to say within 6 months of Dior went missing.
Okay,
We know that
okay.
Grandpa was capable of so many things. His memory was 90%, not anything less, according to Trina herself at that time of the camping trip. He, you
So
know,
it was fresh.
yeah, yeah, it was really fresh. And so Isaac and Grandpa,
Girl, you better get on this.
trust me, I'm already on it. I'm doing everything I can with it. Um, I mean, there's nothing I can do with it, unfortunately. It's all up to law enforcement. Um,
And they
it
can
really,
only, they can only do what they can do with it too.
yeah, exactly. So they
Right.
might have this information, but that doesn't mean that, first of all, it doesn't mean that it's factual just because he said it. Um, he could have said it to the police. That doesn't mean it's factual even then. So there's nothing to
It'd be
support it.
hearsay evidence.
Yeah, basically, it's hearsay, even if it came from himself. There's nothing to support what he said. Um, that I know of to support it, other than um, possibly the truck situation, if it is blood or not. I would love to know if that what the real answers are for that. Um, that right there is kind of like holding over the case. Was there blood on the truck or was there not? Luminol, according to Vernal's dad, Luminol picked it up. FBI and Luminol all came out to be a positive thing.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
oh,
Sorry.
you're fine. So I'm
Well,
not sure.
just because as far like I say, I never heard that they did any luminol test.
Well, FBI did have the truck. I know that because Frank Bilt told me he was there. I spoke to Frank so much. We had so many conversations. I had so many questions, and he was just so willing to answer them. And he worked on his case till the end of his days. I swear, he was still working on it, even though nobody saw that. Um, but he actually said that he witnessed the FBI take the truck, and I want to say that they didn't take it anywhere specifically. I think they did it whatever they were doing in the shop that it was sitting at, because Frank was there. He said that saw FBI, and FBI left left the truck there, didn't go anywhere. And basically it was returned to Vernal really quickly. So it is kind of up in the air. Like, what was all that? what is what is what did Dennis know as far as the truck situation? Was it validated? How did he get that information? Frank didn't actually say that there was blood on there. When I talked about it, he also kind of Leslie, just like you, it's not 100%, and it wasn't tested as blood. But it's very possible when you look up how luminol works, it can be affected by bleach. Bleach can show up on luminol. I didn't know that, and I think that maybe that's why it's mentioned that there was bleach on the vehicle as well. So there's that rumor going on there with bleach on the truck. Was the truck really bleached? Luminol would pick that up, apparently. Blood, any kind of blood, I guess, even pathogens, would lit that up. Yeah, there's a couple of things. So I'm just, I'll keep that kind of as a floater.
Well, I was under the impression that those samples were taken by law enforcement and sent down to the FBI to test not by the FBI themselves.
You could be right on that. Frank, Frank and I could have misunderstood each other for sure. That would make a lot more sense because FBI, if they caught, they would take the car, right? Like FBI doesn't mess around,
Well, the FBI, I don't think was the FBI has to be asked to come in by local law enforcement.
right?
And as far as I know, I don't believe that
They were involved a little bit. They did. They were part of the polygraphers between FBI and law enforcement. Were the polygraphers, and you have Bowerman in one of his news feeds says that FBI and law enforcement, you know, did all that. So we do have FBI um, doing at least the polygraph tests, some of them, and interrogations as well. They did do an interrogation on Bernal and Jessica a really long time. They actually right before they went to, this is the one that bothers me the most, when they went to the mall to go to Spencer's to buy a Clone My Willie. um, I'm not sure what was going on in their brains, but they had just left like an 8-hour FBI interrogation.
And you do that while your baby's missing? Why?
Right. I mean, it's one thing
Right.
going to the mall and they were seen laughing and having a good time. Now, I don't have anything to say about that because let's just say that they really lost it. They really lost a child, regardless. They really lost one. Um, but let's just say a different family literally lost a child, and we're not talking about these guilty parents that we see. Um, it's possible that you can have a little fun and make light of something, to get things off your mind. I get that. It's okay to smile, and people feel guilty when they do. But to go to a Spencer's and to actually buy one of those things,
That's what always seemed odd to me. Uh, I got some criticism after I lost a 13-year-old daughter. Uh, had to wait a week for her funeral for my sister to come home, and and I had been at the hospital with her for 3 months before she passed away to ovarian cancer at the age of 13.
oh, so
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
Um, and
Sorry.
I was devastated, overcome. And the day of her funeral, uh, my brother asked me, what do you want to do?" And we come back to the house, and my yard was so full of vehicles, and my house was full of people and food and everything else. And I said, I want to build a bonfire and drink some cold beer. And I had only two different people I heard of say, "Oh my God, she didn't care anything about that baby or whatever."
Oh,
I
that's
I I, I needed to release and do something outdoors, uh, just to overcome the grief,
Right.
exactly.
and but to go to Spencer's, and I mean that's something you do on a weekend honeymoon, or get away with your husband.
Yeah.
Lord, I've been married 52 years, and we've done crazy stuff like that. But uh, when your baby is still, it's fresh. The baby's there's hope you can find him to go do something stupid. At that time, to me, that just struck me upside my head. I'm sorry.
And how long after he was missing did that happen?
It was within the first year of within six. Well, when Vernal and her were still together. I mean, actually, you know
No,
what? I
it
learned
was
something.
close. It was close to after he passed.
Yeah,
After not he passed,
yeah, it was.
but
It was.
close to
They were
after he
still
went missing.
Yeah, they were still questioning him with law
He
enforcement.
passed in July, and I think that, if I'm wrong, was it like in September something
Yeah, within just a
that they
couple.
did? It wasn't that far away. I mean, if it was a year, that's another thing.
I
Right.
but it was pretty soon after the baby went missing.
It was
I mean,
really sad.
granted, I don't think I would do something like that, but I I don't know. I just
People are different.
people are different.
Right.
I mean, I don't get it,
I heard
but
someone tell me that some people get like a high feeling from stuff like that. Like I don't know, it's kind of like a adrenaline or something. I don't.
well, and I mean, it's to get through stuff. It's hard. I mean, I hate talking about stuff like that, but um, I
It's not the normal.
I have a hard time reading too much into stuff that how other people deal with
Right.
things because I mean, I know myself. I if I can't laugh at something, I can't get through it.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, I mean, I've probably laughed at some rather inappropriate times just because something will
I've
strike you.
laughed at funerals.
Like, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I get it. It makes sense. You know, everybody is going to do their own thing, and maybe it's not something 90% of people would do, but it doesn't necessarily point to guilt. It just shows character.
No,
I think
no.
it's character, really, character building. There's just a lot of things. I really wish I can just say that they were innocent, and I really wish I could just help them find their baby. You know what I mean? But it's so hard. I've had many conversations with Bernal, and I swear it's like it's what is he doing out there? With sharing stuff. Is he sharing things? Is he? You
And
know,
I think that's what we all want is for them to tell us how to help them.
yes, yeah.
You
You
know,
said it. You
if
said it.
if they
That's
if they would be proactive and say, okay, this is what I want everybody to do
right.
uh, to bring my baby home.
Right.
They would have 1 million people willing to help them, but
Ab-
they're happily going on, and they didn't. They're doing it now, but they did it right. It wasn't that long after the baby went missing.
they're not doing anything now. They're not
Right.
looking,
You know,
they're not putting
just
up flyers, they're not sharing
nope,
anything. I mean,
nope.
literally nothing. I saw a video, and I don't like to, I don't want to feel like I'm putting the parents down, but I mean,
I'm not either. I'm
I
not
saw
either. But we just need direction.
exactly. I think that's very true. But when Jessica is in a video saying that she 100% believes someone has him and that she just hopes that he's happy and taken care of, that
Yeah.
doesn't sit well with me. I mean, if my daughter was missing, you would never hear me say that. That I just hope that she's being taken care of. And no, I'm going to be out there. You think I'm out there for Deorr now? Gosh, I wish I could get on
Yeah.
the news. I would just be so loud, even louder than I can, and that's the thing that's frustrating for me because I am louder than I am in this case. I can be louder, but there's nowhere to be louder. If that makes sense, I can't get
And
into
once
their.
again, you're doing a wonderful job.
I appreciate it. It's a lot of work. uh, we lost Amanda. I don't
But
know.
he's worth it.
He is totally worth it. I say anybody should adopt a missing child. I know many people that are in the YouTube world, they have adopted at least one or two missing children and they focus on those children. And I think that's really important because that gives that child an advocate. Sure, I post lots of missing children, but I only work on one, and I mean, I've worked on a few of them, but like I pay attention to just one. And if you can do that with other kids, I think that we can, mm, advocating is
I think
just advocating. It's not finding people, but it is definitely keeping their cases above.
I try to share as much as I can. I can't, and I mean, sometimes I get sucked into things, but I cannot emotionally go into other cases like I have with Embers and somewhat with
Right.
Deorr's, just because emotionally I can't do it.
Right. There's only so much that we can individually do. There's it really it's sad to see all these missing children, and the sad thing about it really is that there's gonna be more. There's more children right now missing, and um, from their parents taking suspicious care. I could put it that way. Neglecting, of some sort, an accident happens. There's a lot of these that are out there. I literally believe Sky Metawalla was one of them. Lisa Irwin was one of them. I think Ember was one of them. Um,
Karen, Karen
we've got,
Harmon.
yeah, I got Ayla Reynolds out in Maine. These are cases that I can't get out of my mind, and this is why I'm attached to Deorr's case, because by the time Deorr came, I've seen all these other cases, and I was just like, "What's going on with all these parents? Why don't they know where their kid is?" And it's not because the kid walked off. There's literally they had something to do with it. Is there
Well,
facts
Ember
and proof?
was 6 months old, but
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad, and it makes you want to say, "Stop. That's enough. This needs to stop," and makes you want to stand up for the one of the kids, and basically Deorr's case, I think, is seriously a good example for a lot of cases, and you don't have a lot of people sticking up for these people. You have the problem with this case and YouTubers and all that. They share his case, but they're not deep diving. They're not they haven't been part of it for almost 9 years. They don't have the ins and outs. They're just shares, which is good. I appreciate that, but it's also important that every case has someone who knows the case, gets in there and does something with it, right? I just think that I would really like to come up with a plan for this next anniversary. um let's see. Crime and Justice, she's a good friend of mine. She's also a YouTuber. She suggests that we do some sort of visual. I don't know how we would do that online, but I can get more information from her and see if that's something that we can possibly do. Um, I'm not always about like selling things for Deorr. I've been trying to raise money for Klein, but Klein actually told me, and this was really sweet of him. He told me, because I was in the middle of making posters. I met a friend in Idaho Falls, and his name's Manny. He's really sweet. He's been doing an awesome job um, out there, doing things for Deorr, putting posters up in businesses and selling tickets, movie tickets for like $5-7 cheaper than you can get them at the theater. And all of this was going to Klein for his the rest of his fees. The one that the $20,000 he asked. We're at $11,000. But he told me, you know what? Instead of raising the rest of the money for me, I would like you to put the rest of that stuff on awareness, like the posters and stuff like that. So Klein's not asking for any of the money anymore. He really hasn't been asking since I brought it up. um, so I like that part of the character I see of him, that now he's on this case. He's not going to go anywhere, whether people like him or not. I don't always agree with some things, but he's going to do his thing his own way, and I just want to stay out of his way and let him do it. But we do have searches this year. It was supposed to be last year. There was a lot of hoops and jumps that we had to go through. When I say we, I don't mean we, but Klein had to go through legal wise to get to where he wants to search. So that took a long time because it was a lot of mapping, a lot of grid mapping. Um, and we're talking about 9 years worth of trash. So we're finally getting, I can't say when he's going to go do searches, but it is a plan. Um, I hope that something will yield from that. Yeah. So, is there anything that you guys have anything to say, or I'll leave this as an open chat for now, since Wilma's device is not connected, and Amanda can't seem to stay on the internet.
Yeah. I mean, hopefully at some point he's found.
Right. I agree. Yeah, that would be the best thing. I really think that the rest of his family um, deserves to know where he's at. And if the parents are innocent, with that small chance that I see, I hope they get the answers that they need. And like you said, Susie, I think that um, it's hard to say because a lot of us feel the parents are guilty, but for any reason, they're not. It would be really nice to
What?
have direction
No,
from them.
no. Like I said, I did not say the parents are guilty. I said
Right,
if it proves that they are either one of them guilty, I will not be surprised.
right.
Yeah.
A feeling is still a feeling. We can feel they're guilty. But if they're not for any reason, it would be really nice to have them give direction. This is their child, not ours. And
Right.
we can only do our best. We can't get on the news. I can get on the news sometimes, but it's not very easy. Um, and it doesn't seem to do a lot of good except, just bring his case to the top again for a minute, and then another case will happen, and then it goes down again. So I really think that that's the best statement I've heard all night is having the parents give direction. And if they are searching, let people know that they're searching. Show us that they're searching. I
But
mean,
Will,
they don't have to prove anything to anybody, and that is a true fact. Um, but they could have a lot more help if they are really innocent.
I will say one thing that trying to find it. Where is it? Um, I can't remember who put it out. Um, yeah, I hate when I like think of something and can't find it. Um, it is a recommendation, and I will tell you who put it out if I can find it. As far as like missing persons, that they do recommend that people stay off of social media in those situations because of people. There it is. Found it. Um, just people not being nice.
Yeah, it makes a lot of
Right.
sense. It protects the innocence, like just because you're not on social media doesn't mean that you're guilty at all. Um, and there's a lot of parents out there or family that are innocent and they get backlash, and and it's not fair. It's not fair for them. I think that with a lot of the beginning, I think in a way a lot of the followers kind of helped ruin the progress on social media with the parents because the parents were talking and having the parents talk whether they're guilty or not. The more that they talk was more important. It was important because you can read between lines. You can get factual things from what they say because they're the ones that were there, right? But there was so much drama in the beginning that the parents were dragged into it or dragged themselves into it, um, and then they removed themselves. So now we see nothing of them anymore. And as far as searches, do I know that they're searching or not? I don't. I don't have a right to say they're not searching either. In my opinion, they're not searching, and I would like to see more done than what the public is doing for them. And I would definitely like to hear how we can help anything, really. I mean,
And I agree. And the thing is, and I'm not talking just in this case.
right.
Um, oh, is that it? Um, but honestly, they don't owe us that.
No, they don't. Mm-mm. No,
And
not
that
at all.
I think that is where I'm not like saying you guys or anything, but
No,
I'm saying
that's
that
true.
I think that that is a big issue with a lot of missing persons cases and the internet that people feel so entitled to know everything about cases, and
Amen. Amen.
it's not it's just not,
Yeah,
it's none of our business.
it isn't. I totally agree with you on that. I really do. Um, you
I
know,
mean,
it's
obviously we want to help, and
right,
spreading awareness and that kind of thing, that's different, but to feel like you are owed an explanation by law enforcement who are trying to build a case or trying to find out what the heck happened,
right,
or by family members
right,
that are going through the worst time of their
right.
um
Exactly.
it's I don't know, it's just I don't get that part.
Yeah, they
Just
don't owe it
because
to
we want
anybody.
to know doesn't mean that we're entitled to know.
True, true. I agree with that 100%. I do think that, I mean, I guess, I don't know. I mean, like, in a way, do they feel that enough is already being shared that they don't need to step in and ask for more help? Or do, as far as like flyers and stuff, obviously, I don't think they don't like me anyway. So I include their photos and stuff. So, because I have my opinion, but I don't want my opinion to be, used as facts. I like to share the facts that I know. Um, I can only say that there's blood on the truck from, Vernal's dad, that type of thing. I can't say that literally, so I'm glad that we had the conversation because there's some things that I can do myself that, can be changed a tad. Um, it's not like I get on these conversations with other people and have these type of topics, so it is important to bounce off of each other for feedback like that. Um, yeah, I don't think the parents owe it to anybody. It's not, but they're not going to get much help except from law enforcement. Maybe they're asking them. But as far as like keeping this case afloat, how are they helping? I would like to know how they're helping. It's not my
Well,
right to know, but I would like to know.
no, and I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying necessarily in this particular case
Right.
specifically.
Right.
I'm kind of like overall.
Yeah.
Um, you know, I
It makes sense.
I do, the not sharing of flyers and that kind of thing. That is not how I personally obviously would handle something like this, but on the same token, that's me.
Right.
So, I don't know. I weigh everything out in pretty much any situation.
Hmm.
Um, so I don't know. Some people look at it as wishy-washy, I guess, but it's more being able to get all different kind of look at all different perspectives because it all paints the picture. It's not just one certain thing.
Right. Right. I
I don't
agree with
know if I got my point across or not, but yeah,
that.
I'm sorry.
Kelly, I'm thinking, uh, see, this year will be 9 years.
Hmm.
Yeah.
What, you reach out to Nate Eaton, I will too. And, just, I mean, and he does every so often, on the anniversary, he'll do a
Oh,
recap
he
of,
does. He does his own thing. I've actually already been in contact with Nate Eaton, and his staff basically wrote back to me on for him that they do not want to support anything that I do or that Klein does, and that they will hold their own anniversary, etc. So, um,
okay, I'll reach out to him.
that's
He
how
don't,
that's where me and Klein and Nate Eaton stand right now. Is that Klein? He just doesn't. I don't know if it's because of Klein or I think he just wants to stay mutual, and he obviously, I can be seen as drama, right? Like it depends on who you are. And I don't.
I was just thinking. I was thinking Nate because he's in that area.
Yeah, and he. I wish there was be a little bit more done on for the anniversary rather than a repost of the same post every year with a little bit of extra words. Um, I think that this case could be a little handled more importantly, but then again, not everybody sees this case the way I see it. It's
Well,
not always number one for everybody. It could be number two or three, you know. So I'm not sure. I know that Deorr is important to Nate Eaton, and I'm not going to say that he's not. But and I know he did a crime con, and I'm very thankful for that. I wish I just saw a little bit more. Not necessarily teamwork. I can care less about working with him or having me on the news, but I wish I saw a little bit more, just a little bit more.
but like in what context? Like
I
what?
don't know.
What?
That's what I mean. Like I don't know what he could do more of. Like um
He
yeah,
could put the word out. Just to me, get the word out.
I don't know. Every once in a while, share a flyer or something.
Awareness.
I don't know. I mean,
Awareness.
he is doing his best. I do know that. It's in him covering his own thing and not wanting to be a part of New York line. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. He doesn't have to do that. I, I mean, he. I don't know. I guess in a way, I guess in a way, I have to withdraw that in a way because it's not his responsibility, right? So by saying what I just said, it kind of makes it seem like he needs to do more because it's his responsibility, but it's not. It I don't know what he could do more of. Um, I just feel like this
Well,
should be more done in the
He
case.
he
Period. I don't know why,
Yes,
but
he
that's what
being
it
the
he
news,
has he has a national voice
yes,
that he
that is
could do it.
yeah. He has an actual.
Him and Keith Morrison could, they have so many followers.
I
But then
think
again, I
that
think
they
back.
want to stay they have to journalistically stay neutral.
Yes, yes,
And that's I think that's the biggest
yeah,
thing is
yeah. He can't just share what me and Glenn are
professionally.
sharing. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying if he would just remind people,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
we're missing our we want we're missing our baby. We want our baby back.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's
That's
done a
all
lot of
we
things.
want.
He's done interviews with the sheriff, you know, the parent, not the parents after that one time, but you know, with Trina, and you know, he still gets it in there. But like you said, he's a national voice. I just feel like, and I don't expect him to cover only one crime or one situation. I'm not asking him to make Dior his favorite or anything. But I guess maybe a little bit more coverage would be good. You know, with the news coverage
Well,
that he
if
has.
not Nate, somebody else.
Yeah,
You
or
know,
somebody else.
anybody that would get the word out.
Right.
I
Me
think
and
the
clients have a
biggest
news lady that's willing to do our news stuff, but it's really only for updates, and um
I think
that's
that's the biggest thing because there isn't anything new. And
exactly.
without anything new to put out,
Well, to me, that would be here's our update. There's no new updates.
yeah.
Why?
Yeah. And what could Nate besides, what could Nate tell people to do to share flyers?
He could just remind people
Yeah,
that
just
this baby is still out there.
more than once a year, I guess would be good. Um but then again, he's got a lot of things, I don't he's doing his job. Um I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe it's just frustrating that he's not found, and that we're going on 9 years, and it's like coming up with ideas is so hard to move forward in the next thing. There's only so many videos I can make. There's only so many shares people can share. Um, I guess I wish to just what can make this case stay afloat all the time, and how long are we willing to do this? I'm willing to do it forever, but it's hard. It's so hard to keep a case going as if it just happened yesterday when it's going on, close to 10 years. it,
Well, it kind of like we said a while ago. I mean, while we've been sitting here talking, there's another baby missing somewhere. I
yeah,
mean, it happened just while we were talking.
yeah,
And, like right now, I'm following Sebastian Rogers
me
in
too.
Tennessee, uh, you know, and there's so many current cases going on. I mean, it
Yeah,
happens all the time.
all the
And
time.
this baby was out here in BF Egypt,
Yeah,
and with nothing around but nature, and he's gone.
yeah.
You know,
And you got parents failing lie detector tests. That right there, we do know. That is a fact. Said by Bowerman, taken by FBI and law enforcement. That's how Bowerman got his decision. And you, you don't fail the control question. Now, I had someone ask me, how was the polygraphs given? Uh, were they given by a professional? Were they asked certain questions? What kind of control questions did they have? Certain things. And I think that if FBI did it, uh, then that right there, I feel like they're skilled enough to know. Law enforcement, you're always up in the air with law enforcement that doesn't really have to do these kind of things all the time. And so, but with FBI backing that up, it's hard. It's hard not to look at the parents as if they know something. It's hard, and it's hard every day to wake up feeling like your child's missing. And not my child. I'll say he's my adopted child, my adopted missing child, and I hate the fact that there's a child missing. You know, and if you put yourself somewhat in like my shoes, and I don't want to top anybody. I'm not trying to top anybody up. Like, oh, I did all this stuff. No, I don't want any kudos for that. I just I'm having a hard time, figuring out how to keep going with keeping him on the top when all these cases are coming. It's hard. It's frustrating. I can't. I'm not a mom who can sit there and say, "I hope he's being well taken care of," and then go on about my day. I can't do that. Not even my own child. That is frustrating. But yeah, you know, this I think all of these questions were really important. Too bad Amanda didn't get on there and Wilma didn't attach her thing. We had two other people. Um, but it's been fun and it's been a learning experience for sure. Leslie, you've had some pretty good advice as far as like being mutual between cases kind of thing. And Susie, I really like your advice as far as like, the parents really could ask for help. And even if they're not entitled to let us know, it would be nice to know that they're asking somebody for help. If
Yeah.
they feel that they
we just need direction.
direction. Yeah. Yeah. And without direction, we're all left to just do things on our own. And that's the way it kind of happened. Um,
Let's just all hope and pray we find an answer soon.
yeah. It is.
I'm gonna have to tap out here in a minute.
Yeah, I'm about to end the live. But I just wanted to thank you guys for showing up and being able to discuss this with me and,
Oh, sorry.
being original followers. I think that your guys' opinions are very important and what you've done in the past to help or not help, but what you've seen that needed to be changed. All those things are important to know. And like I said, this case is a learning case for other cases. So if this gets watched by someone else, I hope that they can see the frustration that cases like this hold, questions that could be, given how to treat cases, in a fair manner and stuff like that.
And yeah, and I mean, how to, well, take everything, have to take a step back and not, it doesn't have to be drama. It just
No,
doesn't drama.
no, no. And I don't think it's been drama for a little while, which is good. But I'm not sure if you guys have experienced drama lately. I haven't because I just grab you guys and take you into my messenger and message you guys.
No, I think the first 2 years was the worst drama I ever saw.
It was
Oh my
terrible.
God,
And you know what? I'm not innocent in that drama either. I mean, I saw
it
things
was
and I was like,
appalling.
and then people back at me like, you know. But in a way, I think we've worked out some things. Amanda, do you want to come in now, really quick? Amanda, can you hear us? Amanda,
Can you
Amanda,
hear us now?
Amanda, you're in there. Turn on your mic. Say hello. Give her a chance to say at least hi before we get out of here. Amanda, yoo I was really hoping
Red
she.
Rover, send Amanda on over.
Come on, Amanda. I'm waiting for her to get kicked out again somehow.
Poor
Her internet
thing.
has been really bad. Okay, you have to say something. Is your volume up?
You said that. I think of his used words.
Come on, I put Leslie on this one just for you. There she's writing me. Hold on. Oh, she just got kicked out again. What the heck? All right. Well, I might just have to put her in tomorrow's stuff. That's funny. All right. I'm trying. I am so sorry, she says. No worries, Amanda. We'll get you in tomorrow if you want. Um, I'm hoping that you were able to at least listen to everybody. And if you have anything to put in there, feel free to comment. But we're going to go ahead and close out the live. And again, I just want to thank you guys for coming on board and making this happen because people will watch it and it's for Deorr and it helps keep his case afloat and it also helps with awareness for other cases.
And thank you, Callie, for all you're doing.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
All right, I'm going to head out. You guys can stick around if you want.
All right, I'm out.
Bye.